Look, every football game is a grind, and if you're like Dan and the crew, you know there's no such thing as one size fits all. Your sleep should be just as custom as Coach's game plan. That's where Sleep Number comes in. You get to call your own plays. Softer, firmer, cooler, warmer, your side, your comfort. Change it whenever you want. No more feeling stuck like a busted play. And for all the late night fights over the thermostat, Climate Series cools up 20 times faster than the competition. True temp bedding kicks heat and humidity to the sidelines so you can actually stay chill all night long. Bottom line, Sleep Number is like having a sleep coach in your corner, adjusting to you all night. Because your best game starts with the right rest. Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed? So you can sleep just the way that you like. The only bed that lets you make each side firmer or softer whenever you like. Your Sleep Number setting. Sleep Number's biggest sale of the year is here. All beds on sale. Up to 50% off the limited edition smart bed. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Sleep Number, official sleep and wellness partner of the NFL. See store or sleepnumber.com for details.
Oh, you ready for this?
Eeny Meeny, a Hulu original, streaming August 22nd.
Eeny Meeny. There's a casino job in just a few days. $3 million.
You get right to it.
From the guys who wrote Deadpool.
Your boy's a liability.
X.
Is he though?
Let's get this money.
Can we think this through for a second?
Yeah, because that's your strong suit, thinking things through.
Eeny Meeny, a Hulu original, rated R, streaming August 22nd. Streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
The Sueys are back, and they're presented by Miller Lite. The 2025 Sueys kick off Monday, August 25th, the only award show where chaos reigns and nonsense wins. Only on the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz.
That's a lot of production value we put into that, including the fake Star Wars music, fanfare music.
Royalty free.
Oh, my God.
Easy with a fake.
Oh, royalty free. Yes, you're right. I should use those terms. Welcome in Jessica Smetana. She's got the podcast, The Echoes, with Mike Golick Jr.
Echoes.
Is it The Echoes or just Echoes?
Echoes. It's The Echoes.
Okay, all right.
Echoes.
Oh, you were doing Echo. Oh,
I was doing Chris's bit. Yeah.
There you go.
Hey,
How's it going?
I heard you wanted to talk about popcorn.
Yes, I do. I want to start right there because
Of course.
Greg discovered today that Eddie Curry has a podcast called, what's it called? Cheddar and Caramel?
Caramel and cheddar.
Caramel and Cheddar that he co-hosts with his girlfriend. Eddie Curry's from Chicago. And I said, Chicago people are very, very proud of their popcorn. How did that start?
I have no idea, but the cheddar caramel combo is a Garrett's popcorn thing that people come from all over the place and get in those big, tins of popcorn. And it's a delicious combo. You wouldn't expect it. But I mean, it's been around as long as I've been around, so it must go back quite a bit.
I remember working, I can't remember whether it was New York or in Phoenix. We had like a big ass tin of Garrett's. And I was like, what's the big deal? And then literally daily, I'm just shoveling it into my face. It's hard to explain because I've always been like, no, I want fresh popcorn. I want hot buttered popcorn.
Amin El Hassan, I know that this is Jessica's fault, but how dare you?
How dare I what?
What?
It's week 0. We got bands in the stands. We got football.
I don't think they're calling it week 0 anymore, though.
They're trying to get away from it, but what is it?
No,
An
it's still
extended
week
week
0.
1?
Yeah, it's like a long week 1.
Why was it ever called week 0?
Week 0's got branding, pal. And it's week 0.
Who's trying to get away from week 0?
It has been downplayed. I've noticed that.
But where? I haven't seen that. I mean, I know on like the ESPN schedule on the website, it'll say week 1, but that's always been the case.
But in the
their
in the marketing, Jess, like we're not hearing so much week 0.
Yeah, in the past, if you would watch on SportsCenter or whatever, they would refer to it as week 0, and they're not
wouldn't
doing
shut
that
up about
anymore.
it.
But do you watch SportsCenter daily?
Did you watch last night with Rich Eisen? I saw the intro.
I did not, but I saw the Cincinnati Bengals Commanders game that was on before, and I saw that they were advertising it.
Jess.
What a game, by the way. Has preseason football always been this bad? I'm sorry. I'm taking us on a journey here, but I mean, it's been bad this year.
Jess, let me tell you, old school intro with the saxophones and everything, old school graphic package.
Did they do that?
Rich Eisen monologue.
Yeah.
And then he takes the reins, and it's a modern set behind him. He's there solo. The soothing voice of Rich Eisen. The lower third's the old Sports Center.
Did
lower
they
third.
start in 4x3 and grainy and then expand
Save
out
this
to
topic.
16x9?
Save this topic for Dan. Dan's going to do a whole bit about they're trying to distract you from NFL being, owning ESPN, whatever, yada yada. Save this for Dan. This is a Dan topic.
I mean, all that stuff. I saw Ian Rappaport was hosting McAfee. It seemed like yesterday was kind of like the launch of.
They take over, right?
I guess let me ask you a journalism
They took all
question
our shit.
because you and Greg have the journalism bona fides here. We'll begin with you, Jess. Naturally, people are going to be very critical of any of ESPN's coverage on the NFL, given the NFL's ownership stake on this. Now, I've heard interviews from Mina Kimes on Football America saying she's never been told what to say. We know from our time over at ESPN, sometimes you're not directly told, but you are certainly given opinions and know which kind of direction they want to steer you in. How do you think ESPN talent's going to navigate this?
I mean, it's a great question. And I wonder if there's even, you don't have to be told, but there's just pressure that it's a partner situation. And that's something that I think we even deal with on the Batard show, right? We know we have certain things that you don't tell us we can't say, but we know maybe we should be careful around. So, I mean, that's just what happens in a corporate journalism world, no matter where you work or what you do. And that is why, I think a lot of people think the concept of for-profit journalism, it's not something that goes together.
Greg?
Well, I have a journalism question for Jess, but it's sort of off track of that a little bit. Jess, I'm wondering, why can't Notre Dame pick a starting quarterback, and how...
All right, so you want no part of the journalism.
It's all right.
question.
No.
Let them cook.
And how is that going over in South Bend? Because it seems to me that if you can't pick a starting quarterback, it means neither one of them is that outstanding.
Echoes.
Yeah, Greg, I think a lot of people are like, what's the holdup here? But I personally, I think as long as they name it by the end of this week, I don't think it's that big of a deal because from all accounts, both quarterbacks are getting a ton of reps in practice, so they're going to be ready to go no matter who it is. I think it's at least better than Auburn's situation, which is that they have 3 quarterbacks. And Hugh Freeze has said, Greg, all 3 could end up playing in their opening game against Baylor. That is a sneaky good Power 4 game because Baylor went from being, is Dave Aranda on the hot seat last season to they figured out a little bit of NIL and recruiting stuff that they didn't have figured out before. They had a really solid end of their season last year. Auburn, on the other hand, they're like, we have 3 quarterbacks. We have 3 play callers. They've said their offensive coordinator is going to call first down. Hugh Freeze is going to call second down. And then their quarterback's coach is going to call third down. But Hugh Freeze is like, I can overrule any of it at any time. So there's 3 play callers, 3 quarterbacks. I mean, I think that's 9 different combinations if I'm doing the math correctly.
That'll work.
And on top of that, they're like, by the way, we're also going to claim all these extra national championships that we weren't claiming before because we were only claiming the AP voted national championships. And Greg, I'm sure you remember back in the day when the national championship was something that people voted on pre-BCS era.
Yes.
And can explain that a little bit. But very weird offseason, and that's called a transition. That's how I transitioned from your question about Notre Dame to something that I said I wanted to talk about on my little topic sheet today, which I am only allowed to reference when Dan's not here.
How did Auburn just wake up today and say, you know what, we have 9 national championships now. Thank you, everybody. Moving on.
It's a great question, Billy. So I think previously they had, according to On3, they had recognized 2 national championships in their stadium, and then they had 3 in their media guide. So the 2 in the stadium were the 1957 one and the 2010 one, which were the AP national titles. And then they had 3 more that were in their football media guide. And then today they were like, there's also going to be 4 more. Yeah. And now they're adding 1910, 1914, 1958, in 2004.
That was a good year.
That's the weird one. Like the 1910s and 1913s, like, okay, whatever. Like, what do I know? 2004, like, I was alive.
Yeah.
I know you didn't win the national championship. Yeah.
Well, that's my question. So, does it, I mean, I personally have no problem with schools claiming whatever national championships they want to claim, like Jeremy's alma mater. I don't give a shit if you want to claim that. UCF, that's fine. Good for you guys. You can use it for marketing purposes and reunion purposes.
Why are you okay with that? You can't just claim a national championship.
You literally can in college football. At least you used to be able to. It's harder now.
UCF stuff, though. Like, if you're Auburn, you should be above just deciding, you know what, I woke up today and I have now more national championships.
A little more dignity.
Billy, I think some people would definitely agree with that. But I think that, The national championship has always been something that's been up for debate over the years. There was voting pre-bowl game, there was voting post-bowl game, there was split votes at points in history. So there are claimed national titles and there are unclaimed national titles. And I guess if you want to do it, like, I have no problem with it, but people are probably going to make fun of you, especially if you are Auburn. And I think that that's okay. I mean, if you weigh out the pros and cons of, are we going to get clowned on the internet versus are we now saying we have like 9 national championships or whatever it is, like, I guess you do the math in your head and you're like, cool, I think it's worth it.
What's the upside in claiming a national championship in a year that everyone remembers? Like, what?
I don't remember 2004 for the record. I think that they can get away with that.
In 10 years also, everyone will forget.
Well,
so at some point, you're like, oh yeah, you just see it says like 2004 national championship, and you're gonna like look it up. You're like, I'm not gonna Google who they beat.
Jason Campbell and them boys. I remember that, but that was in the BCS era where they specifically installed the formula to avoid circumstances like that, where you had multiple people claiming a national title.
Yeah, an undefeated team that didn't get an invite to the championship, and so ultimately they go undefeated and they say, hey, we probably should have been there, and thus national champions. Makes sense to me.
Right.
I mean, yeah, they went undefeated. They won the Sugar Bowl and the SEC, and they were like, we finished second in the AP in the coaches poll, but we were 13-0. We can claim this one because we won all our games. I guess Florida State, the question is now, have they tried to claim 2023, Mike? Because feels like something maybe, although they lost their bowl game.
They lost by 70 points.
Can't lose the bowl
They
game.
lost by 70 points. This weekend slate, week 0, informally, I guess maybe possibly FKA, week 0, does have a bunch of coaching debuts. Frank Reich, maybe surprising many in the audience. He's at Stanford now. The one I want to talk about is Dan Mullen, because it seems like UNLV finally, they had a very messy NIL year last year. Their quarterback leaves, but they have dialed in NIL. And believe it or not, Dan Mullen in his first season at UNLV has better odds to make it to the CFP than Florida State University has. What Sicko's Delight are you locked into this weekend?
I mean, all of the games are very tantalizing to me. I think we'll start with Farmageddon. I mean, what was your question? Because I saw that you wanted to get in here briefly before we start with Farmageddon.
I found the quote from the athletic director from Auburn, and it says, quote, "For too long, Auburn has chosen a humble approach to our program's storied history." That's how it's, and then he goes on to explain why they're going to do it. Just that's his explanation. Is like, we've been too humble.
He learned from the best. I mean, when a team beats you and ultimately wins a national championship doing it and claiming that national championship, you just got to follow suit with one of the blue blood programs.
Anyways, we'll go back to not UCF talk. Thank you, Jeremy.
Miss you too.
I know I brought it up, but anyways, okay. So yes, I mean they were like, we were humble. Now we're not humble anymore. Yeah. We're one of the blue bloods, baby, and I think that's great for them. So this weekend is the first ever ranked versus ranked matchup in Ireland at the Aer Lingus College Football Classic. Now you may all remember I attended this game 2 years ago with Lehman, and I just had the time of my life. It was spectacular. However, that game was Notre Dame and Navy, and Notre Dame was like 2 touchdown plus favorite or something. So this time around, I mean, this is a big matchup. Last year was also a big matchup, but it was because it was an upset. It was because Georgia Tech beat Florida State, and it was the first game of the season. We were all like dialed in at Florida State, and we're like, either Georgia Tech's really good or Florida State is not very good. And it turns out both of those things were true. Georgia Tech should have beaten Georgia. I mean, and I will hold that against them for a long time. However, this weekend, Kansas State and Iowa State, both of these teams coming off of pretty solid seasons. Last year was Iowa State's first ever 11-win season. Their head coach, Matt Campbell, has done a really good job of raising the floor at Iowa State, but he's still like knocking against the season, or the ceiling, I guess, with, 10-win season, 11-win season. So are they going to make it to a Big 12 championship? Well, it would help if they won this weekend. So this game actually has pretty big conference implications, and both teams have returning quarterbacks that are going to be starting in this game that are coming back. Rocco Becht is playing for Iowa State, and Avery Johnson is playing for Kansas State. Avery Johnson's a really fun quarterback to watch because he's kind of crazy. He's like all over the place. He's an explosive runner and like really great at play action passing, but he's not super accurate as a passer. So I am very excited to see how that works out.
Okay,
yes,
guys.
I mean.
Look, every football game is a grind, and if you're like Dan and the crew, you know there's no such thing as one size fits all. Your sleep should be just as custom as Coach's game plan. That's where Sleep Number comes in. You get to call your own plays. Softer, firmer, cooler, warmer, your side, your comfort. Change it whenever you want. No more feeling stuck like a busted play. And for all the late night fights over the thermostat, Climate Series cools up 20 times faster than the competition. True Temp Bedding kicks heat and humidity to the sidelines so you can actually stay chill all night long. Bottom line, Sleep Number is like having a sleep coach in your corner, adjusting to you all night. Because your best game starts with the right rest. Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed? So you can sleep just the way that you like. The only bed that lets you make each side firmer or softer whenever you like. Your Sleep Number setting. Sleep Number's biggest sale of the year is here. All beds on sale. Up to 50% off the limited edition smart bed. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Sleep Number, official sleep and wellness partner of the NFL. See store or sleepnumber.com for details.
What does Zyn give you? Not just smoke-free nicotine satisfaction, but real freedom. Freedom to do what you love and choose your rewards. With Zyn Rewards, you can redeem points for premium tech, outdoor gear, and gift cards to your favorite retailers. Find your Zyn and keep finding rewards that fit your lifestyle at zyn.com/rewards. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
The rivalries, the bands, the upsets, college football is back. Think you know the game? Put it to the test with DraftKings Sportsbook and turn picks into big payouts. New customers bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. With live betting, rivalry week boosts, and more, DraftKings Sportsbook has everything you need to own your Saturday. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code DAN. That's code DAN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Dan Le Batard.
I don't like smelly either.
Stugotz.
Women stay home in the kitchen where they belong.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Clear out because I fear we're having another Bryce Harper, Ron Harper situation. Is Avery Johnson related to the Avery Johnson?
Not remotely.
Okay. Is he white?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Ron Harper. The white Ron Harper. If you're Avery Johnson and you're not Avery Johnson, you got to have a different name.
But he could be a sneaky Heisman candidate. One of these Big 12 teams is going to make a run. I saw that Texas Tech has spent a lot of money. They just lost their USC running back. And I wanted to focus a little bit on USC because USC, I don't know if you noticed this, Jess, but they have 32 commitments for the class of 2026. The reason for this is they operate in a state, California. There are some other states, too, where you can actually pay NIL to high schoolers before you actually have to present that to the clearinghouse. So far, I know Miami has attempted to submit NIL deals. I haven't heard of a single school that has had an NIL deal approved yet by Deloitte, who is overseeing the NIL clearinghouse. It seems as though they're kicking the can down the road. What do you make of USC kind of exploiting these rules and paying high schoolers directly? We're talking about juniors. We're talking about 16, 17-year-olds to get their commitment and get their NIL funded that way so they're not subject to this new screwy way.
I did see a story maybe a month ago that the clearinghouse was rejecting some deals, but I don't know if there's been a follow-up, if that was just because of like the stalemate between the collectives and the the clearinghouse.
Yeah, they reverse course
settlement, and now they're like, yeah, collectives are a legitimate business operation, so we're cool with that. But Mike, to answer your question, I mean, I think the bigger that is certainly a part of it, but I think the bigger thing for USC was that they were losing a lot of the recruiting battles around their region because reportedly, like, Lincoln Riley was just he didn't have great relationships around there and just was not really focused on it. And so he was under a lot of scrutiny last season for that. And that's why they hired Notre Dame's, personnel GM guy, Chad Bowden, to come in and help with recruiting there. And they have definitely improved in that aspect. And I think that if nothing else, he's going to really help with the Southern California recruiting, because that was like what Pete Carroll, excelled at, and why they were such a powerhouse was because they got all of those 5-star guys around Southern California. They weren't leaving to go to Southeast schools or Notre Dame or Texas schools. So, I mean, I really think it's like USC just needs to take advantage of their regional, like you said, I mean, the laws certainly contribute to that, but I think they need to take advantage of their regional advantage there and just like focus on what made them great 20 years ago, with sprinkling in portal stuff and just having a better defense generally.
Don't you hate when that happens, when you're trying to say something and use the same word twice, taking advantage of the regional advantage? Like, shit.
Yes.
I wish there was a better way to say that, but I just can't think of it.
I feel like Austin Powers every single time.
allow myself.
What do you know about her whereabouts?
Allow myself to introduce myself.
Do you mean like saying if you're Avery Johnson and you're not Avery Johnson, you need a different name?
You absolutely need a different name.
Yeah, you can't have a famous name. Jess, this is in the same realm as Mike's line of thought, I think. With schools now wanting more and more revenue sources to pay for players, to buy transfers, Oklahoma is now selling fan access to post-game news conferences. I'm just wondering what you think of that.
I hadn't seen that story. To selling fan access to like a press conference.
Yeah, it's like $500 or something. You get to sit in the back, and you don't get to ask questions, but you just.
But why would you want to be?
Boring.
That's so boring. Yes, I remember when I was a young reporter, Greg. I was covering Notre Dame men's basketball, and Duke was in town, and I had to go to Mike Krzyzewski's press conference. And I had grown up watching men's basketball and was a huge basketball fan. And I was like, "This is so cool! I'm gonna see Coach K in person at a press conference and maybe even ask him a question." So I rolled up, I sat in the press conference, I listened to him talk for like 15 minutes, and I was like, wow, these are really, really boring.
Right.
The game is so much more exciting than this. I mean, if I were a fan, I would probably want to just pay extra to have closer seats, but I guess any advantage you can get in selling access.
I think people are going to buy the access. I think people are going to be into doing
You
it.
think the losers are going to do it?
No, the first game has sold out.
Yeah.
Like the fan
It's not a
access
surprise.
to the opener, and it's like it's a weird amount. It's like $679 or something like that. But
I'll just watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, like there's absolutely no advantage to being in that room. It's usually hot in there.
A disadvantage, honestly.
Yeah, it's
super crowded.
Also, if you lose, it's like really depressing. Like you rarely get to see a Brian Kelly fist slam on the table. Like you rarely get a moment in a press conference where you're like, wow, that was pretty,
Dennis
pretty
Green.
intense.
Jessica, your first press conference, I'm imagining you wore a beret and you had like a folder and stuff, and it was with those color-coded tabs, and you were there ready to take like furious notes, and everyone else was looking at you like you're crazy. It reminds me of during the playoffs, I went to Pacers Knicks, and Greg Doyle was there, and he was asking like very kind of pointed questions at Pascal Siakam about why didn't you guys bring it today or whatever, how it's the playoffs, how couldn't you not? And I shit you not, every time he asked a question and then Pascal Siakam would start answering, Greg Doyle would start feverishly typing on his laptop that was from like 2007, and it sounded exactly like this. It was so loud I could not hear what Pascal was saying. I was just like, what's happening here? There's no way he's actually transcribing what's being said.
Yeah, that's super annoying. That goes on today. You know, you're at Eric Spoelstra post-game press conference.
You hear Ira clacking away.
Yes.
Always.
Always. Am I right?
Ira is a big
100%
offender
correct.
of this.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wasn't going to mention him, but, you know.
But once the name got brought up.
Yeah. Jeremy said it in my ear.
I can't think of like a more boring. I guess if you're just like a regular fan and you don't have a lot of access to the football program, like being in the same room as like Brent Venables maybe is something you can brag about to people or think is cool. But I just find press conferences to be a very dry venue. I mean, literally a dry venue. They don't sell alcohol there.
But I think to Jess's point, I think everybody who buys this ticket will learn that very quickly.
Yeah, no, we're just being brats because we've done it before.
But I think even a fan will sit in one of those and be like, and just be like, I don't need to do it again though. Like it wasn't that fun. Like it was maybe cool, but like, okay, I got it.
Like you do it and you realize that, like you said, the Denny Green or the Brian Kelly,
so rare.
Like it's so rare.
Come after me. I'm 40.
Yeah, that one. That's the only reason I know Mike Gundy's name.
Right.
And now he's over 50. So that happened so long ago.
Wow.
I like the idea of thinking, even though it's not going to be that because they can't ask questions, of it turning into like a UFC, like Conor McGregor press conference where fans just grab the microphone like, oh, Conor, blah, 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 and then they're like insulting the other people and they're like, ah, and then they all break out in song. Yeah. Hey, Jess, can I ask you a question not on the things that you want to talk about?
That's
Greg
fine.
mentioned this earlier. Greg thinks there should be a weight limit in the Little League World Series.
We got to get to that.
Yeah.
Oh, like
no fatties.
instead of going by age, they go by like heavyweights, middleweights.
You got to do both.
featherweights.
You got to do
Do both.
Yeah, because if the pitcher meets the age requirement, but he's like, 6'1", 210 pounds, I don't care how old he is, he shouldn't be pitching to a little kid who looks like a little kid. You know what I mean?
So a little Pedro Martinez is fine, like a kid that's small but just throws gas.
Yeah,
like you're cool with
yeah,
that.
you got to go by age and size, in my opinion.
You like the idea of kids cutting weight the day before the big game?
Yeah, you do what you got to do.
You like
right?
the idea of like a kid who's like bigger that maybe gets made fun of a lot in school, being told he can't play because he's too big.
Well, he can play in his own weight class.
Right, yeah. It's like boxing.
So he has to play up with bigger kids.
Yeah.
Think of it as boxing.
Get rocked.
I mean, I feel like if kids are that big and dominant in their age group, can't they play with older kids sometimes? Like when I played youth soccer, there were like some girls that were just like, way better than like most of the kids our age that would play with the older girls.
Right.
But they didn't do it in like a mean way, like, oh, you're too fat. Like,
well, I would never call a kid.
Whoa, nobody said the F word.
I would never call a kid fat.
Yeah, what would you call, what would you name, I guess, the different divisions? They'd be like, the little ones are always like the Mighty Mites or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And then like the larger ones, like you get like a middle, and then like
Hefty.
big ones, like Porkies, something like that.
No,
like,
hefty.
What do you,
hefty would work. That's a nice neutral word.
Okay.
Is hefty.
The hefty kids.
Hefty neutral. hefty.
I think we should protect children's feelings sometimes.
Dad.
And this feels maybe a little, but I'm not a parent, so I don't know. Someone else can probably tell me.
Jess is the last person we should ask about this. She hates kids.
But I'm also protecting the little
And you'd
kids.
think I'd be the one who'd be like, yeah, tell that kid he's gotta go. That kid sucks. It's like
kid's hefty.
baby of the year. Screw you, Bart Harley Jarvis. I'm gonna kill you.
Reality switch sides.
I mean, knows what I'm talking about.
I do.
Dan Le Batard.
Mr. Shirt, if I may say for a second, Miami, they were
Yeah, go
simulating the snap count the entire game, and they were clapping at the line of scrimmage. And the only thing I want to see clapping are them cheeks on Mrs. Met in my face, Mike Shirt. All right, so that's one thing.
Stugotz.
They're a bunch of cheaters, Dan. And you know who should be cheating? Mrs. Met on Mr. Met. And he can watch if he wants.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Jess, is Indiana going to do it again? Last season, they found a way to have a pretty winnable schedule, even though they're in the Big Ten, which obviously added teams and is difficult. And now you alerted me to their non-conference schedule, which is an absolute joke, which should absolutely be held against them. It seems as though Cignetti is trying to fool folks in here and just leverage and siphon off of the Big Ten's reputation. He can lose 2 games inside of that conference, not play anybody outside of conference, and end up right back where he was last year.
Let me start from the beginning where you said the Big Ten has added teams. Yes. And I think that people think that means it's like automatically your schedule is difficult, which is not necessarily true because there's so many teams that your schedule could be vastly different than one of your conference peers because there's so many freaking teams now. So the balance of the schedules are going to be very uneven going forward. And some of this is just why having conversations about like schedule, like strength of schedule and stuff like that is sort of a crapshoot, because a team could schedule a game against another team 10 years down the road, which is often what the, lead time is on some of these home and home series. And that team could have fired their coach the year before and you would have no way of knowing. So you can't necessarily ding them for that. However, in Indiana's case, Curt Cignetti he's not even trying to like fool anyone. He has blatantly been like, we're going to do a quote unquote SEC model of scheduling and schedule FCS teams every year, because he's claiming, and all the other Big Ten coaches claimed at media days, that the SEC only plays 8 conference games, the Big Ten plays 9, so they shouldn't have to play any of these tough non-conference games because it's, woe is them, it's so unfair, et cetera, et cetera. So he actually canceled a series with Virginia, which is like one of the bottom ACC teams. So if you can't even keep your game against Virginia, like what are we doing here? But over the next 5 seasons, Mike, did you look at what their non-conference schedule is? Because this year, it's Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, who just moved up to FBS, Indiana State, FCS. Next year, it's Colorado State, Howard, Western Kentucky. The year after that, Kennesaw State, Indiana State, UMass. And then 2028, Austin Peay, Eastern Michigan, Miami of Ohio. And then in 2029, they have Ball State, Eastern Illinois, and Western Kentucky.
That's bad.
So no Power 4 teams. Awful. Barely a group of 6 thrown in there, like an elite group of 6 thrown in there. I mean, Western Kentucky and Colorado State have been decent over the last few years, but like these are all games that Indiana, I don't even want to say Indiana should win, because historically they wouldn't automatically win these games. It's just in the last year that the opinion of them has sort of changed a little bit, with Cignetti being able to just recruit talent at a higher level. But anywho, it is sort of an abomination, because I think in their minds, like, he wants to keep his job. I get that. But in their minds, yeah, it's like you drop a game to Ohio State or Michigan in the regular season, or Penn State or Illinois, but you still have these 3 wins under your belt going into conference play. You don't need to do too much to get that, at-large bid into the playoff, especially if your conference commissioner is now saying, what if we expanded to 24 or 28 teams in the playoffs? What if we had 7 auto bids for the college football playoff for the Big Ten? Like, it just is really, really lame, I think, and not fun to watch.
Jessica, Jeremy wasn't in yesterday, so he had a bunch of observations about yesterday's show that he want to go through. I want you to audit yesterday's show alongside him, if you will.
I will.
So it's in the form of a top 5. OLI, Chris's transition to the Jack Pocket line read yesterday was fabulous. Incredible job.
Once I learned what Jack Pocket was, I'm all in.
Number 5.
I think you were in before you knew what it was, just based on the name.
Perhaps.
Tony's crash out might be the moment of the year on this show.
And that's number 5 from yesterday?
That's number 5, because we got into it. It's an observation. Yeah. I don't know how much deeper we need to.
Got you.
But it was incredible. An amazing moment.
Ate my food.
Jess, did you see the crash out by Tony?
I did watch like the first 40 minutes of yesterday's show, and I had no idea what was going on. I don't know anything about MMA, but it was funny to watch Tony crash out. So I will
in Little Havana.
2-time cancer survivor calling that the worst night of his life was truly remarkable.
Thanks, Mark.
Number 4, we had that whole Dylan Gabriel conversation without like any context being applied to his quote.
Dylan!
UCF defender coming in, Jeremy.
Oh, look,
I agree with you, because I did see that.
He said it before. He claims it. Is there proof?
I've never seen
I don't know about that, but I did send you yesterday during that conversation, Chris, the actual question that was asked of him. And the reporter asked, you gave us some fabulous wisdom on how you tune out the noise and don't let it infiltrate yourself. Will you share that with everybody at home? So clearly he had just shared that line earlier in the week with the reporter, who then specifically asked him for it. And when it was clipped for the internet, nobody put the question that was there. Nobody provided the context. And then neither did we multiple days later. So I just felt like we left the kid hung out to dry. And I'm not a huge Dylan Gabriel guy, but that's a lot.
You are a huge Dylan Gabriel guy.
I was in 2019.
Also, I will refer you back to my top 5 list from earlier, things people pretend to care about. When someone on this show says something funny that might also have a factual error.
Yeah, I'm the one guy that cares, which is why nobody likes me here. Number 3, the way we talked about the way we talked about the streaming wars was pretty privileged. That's why people also don't like me. We just talked about it like, well, I can afford it. I have all of them. It's just annoying. How about all of the people who just want access to their sports but can't afford to have all of these different streaming services?
But then this is where I'll push back on you. So you're back to where life was like 15 years ago?
That would have been great.
But I'm just saying, like, all that's happening now is, yes, there are haves and have-nots. The have-nots don't have as many streaming options, but they still gonna get some of the games because they have some of these options.
You'd like to think that the advancement of technology would actually be a benefit for society, but it's
No!
only a
We
benefit
have
for the
to
billionaires.
Where do you live?
We have robot Olympics now.
Yeah.
Yeah, how about that?
Number 2.
Yeah, I mean, Jeremy, I think to butt in for a second, it's like things were never free before, but you also couldn't watch every single out-of-market game. So I kind of get why I have to pay extra for that now. Like, if I want to watch Steelers games, but I live in Florida, I get why they charge me for that. I agree that it sucks as a consumer, but when has big business ever cared about consumer output?
All right, good conversation. We brought up the consumers. I'm just happy that we did that, not just through our own lens. Number 2, we talked about nicknames in sports.
We're always viewing this through the prism of consumers that are spending too much. I don't understand. Congratulations on fighting for the smaller guy as opposed to the medium guy.
Also, we're always doing this through our own lens. You talk about Dylan Gabriel in a positive way. Like, what other lens are you using right there?
Journalism. Number 2.
This is making me have to go to the bathroom.
Chris, please. Thank you.
That was so annoying.
Midstream. You ever stop midstream? You got to do the Austin
Good for your
Powers.
I
pelvis.
thought he was talking about me speaking.
Pelvic strength.
Number 2, you guys talked about basketball nicknames yesterday and oh man, that is very distracting. And the fact that there aren't very many good ones, so I have a mini top 5 within the top 5. Top 5 baseball nicknames.
Inception! No, I like this. Give it to me.
Number 5, The Dark Knight for Matt Harvey. Technically hasn't retired yet. Number 4, El Mago for Javier Baez.
That's a good one.
Number 3, for Vinny Pasquantino, the Pasquatch.
I don't like that one.
Number 2, for Jostinsson, and I forget his last name, a minor league player, but Jostinsson is spelt with like 8,000 letters. It's the password. And number 1, Cal Raleigh, the big dumper.
Where's Dick Mountain on that list?
And then number 1, we talked about posters. Another mini top 5 posters that I had on my childhood bedroom. OLI, the Abbey Road album.
Nice.
OLI, the Sgt. Pepper's album.
Wow, look at that.
OLI, the Yellow Submarine album. Number 5, a poster of all the Beatles albums. Number 4, John Lennon, Imagine.
Oh my God.
Number 3, a poster that I purchased that was a picture of myself playing in my first 10 and under travel baseball tournament
Christ,
at
man.
Walt Disney World.
How much did you win?
Wide World of Sports.
Tell me you didn't have a roommate.
Oh, this is childhood.
Oh, okay.
Number 2, the 1998 home run chase, where Mark McGwire was the center cut of it, and then Sammy Sosa and Ken Griffey Jr. were in the corners. And number 1,
Not Kenny.
the Joker. Why so serious? Because The Dark Knight is far superior to The Dark Knight Rises.
No, it's not. Jess, you're with me, right? Dark Knight Rises is a better movie. Has Hines Ward in it. Has Hines Ward.
I mean, I think that if you took out the entire middle hour of The Dark Knight Rises, where he's just like trying and failing repeatedly to get out of that like hole in the desert, the movie would still be okay. It's
character development.
It's just a long sequence. But anyways, yes, I mean, they're both fantastic. And Dark Knight filmed in Chicago. Dark Knight Rises in Pittsburgh. It's like if Christopher Nolan took my brain and was like, what do we do? Let's make these movies weird.
Maybe you did the Inception to him.
That's true. Do you guys want to talk about Hawaii and Stanford before I leave?
Yes,
Mike,
please.
Timmy Chang and them boys.
Chasing, that's the Hawaii game.
Frank Reich versus Timmy Chang.
Except it's at 7:30
Wait,
Eastern.
hold on. Is it the Frank Reich, or is it just another situation where it's a guy named the same name as
let me explain. Let me explain. Amin, do you know what happened at Stanford this offseason to their football program?
No, what happened?
Their head coach was he resigned in the spring. / was told to resign because a story came out in ESPN that he was bullying and belittling to his female colleagues, and just in general not great, not up to the standard. So random coaching search had to happen in like April this year.
Oh,
Do you
wow.
know who the GM of the Stanford Cardinal football program is?
I'm going to guess it's someone who wishes people a happy June.
It is Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
And he brought in Frank Reich to be the interim head coach for this season. And so interim coach in college football, is that a thing that happens very often for a full season? No, because how do you recruit players to come play for your program if you're like, by the way, I'm not going to be here in a year and I have no idea who is. Yeah. So they're already sort of starting on their back foot, I guess, for this season, because that was a thing that I don't think anyone expected to happen in the offseason. So Frank Reich is the interim head coach. Their quarterback from last year transferred to Auburn. He's one of the 3 Auburn quarterbacks that might play in the opener. And so it's not looking good for Stanford this year. I mean, they were very bad last year. They've been 3-9 like the last 4 seasons. They have not been able to compete really in the portal NIL era yet. And so Hawaii is actually a 2.5-point favorite.
Hey, it's Mike Ryan. Those sprinklers are starting to slowly come up on the football field. Time that we have with summer is dwindling. I'm sure you're already doing that thing where you're going through your photo album, flipping through the photos that you've taken this summer, already reminiscing about the good times that you have. I know I did. And in many of the pictures that I went back to reminisce over, I had a beautiful white can of Miller Lite in my hand because I love making good times during the summer, a Miller time. And it's a good reminder, we're losing time on this summer. So why don't you share the moments that you have with a white can of Miller Lite like I have, whether it's a long weekend or a full-on vacation. It is the perfect time to get the crew back together, and since 1975, Miller Lite has been the go-to way to stock the cooler and celebrate those moments. This year marks 50 years of Miller time. 50 years of great taste, great friends, and unforgettable memories. Brewed for flavor with simple ingredients like malted barley, it delivers rich, balanced toffee note flavor and that golden color that just hits different. Miller Lite, great taste. 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Cheers to 50 years of Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.